AI is doubling every 5 months. That doesn't really mean anything to people when I say that. But when I put it in the context of AI will be 64 times better in 3 years. Think of ChatGPT. Think of OpenClaw. Think of Claude Code. Like I'm running a bunch of like AI. I have 11 AI agents running right now, doing all my a lot of my work in the background, and it's going to be 64 times better.
Mayor Ken Sim says, what? Yeah, he's walking back those comments, by the way. A lot of people kind of scratching their head over what he said there. And he has released kind of a statement that says, you know, any AI agents or tools I have experienced were used strictly for personal reasons. He goes on to say a lot more, but basically says, they were never used on City of Vancouver hardware, never connected to the city networks, never used for city business, and never provided access to any city information or data. They were also not used on city premises, including City Hall. But those comments certainly did get some people scratching their head, not the least of which is somebody that is also running for mayor of Vancouver, Kareem Allam. Joins us now. Kareem, thank you so much. You were a little bit concerned about the initial comments. What does that concern center on?
First of all, thanks for having me on. When I heard the mayor say that he was using 11 AI agents for all or part of his work, I was shocked. Anyone familiar with AI knows that the bulk of the data centers that process AI are in the United States, China, and Europe. There aren't very many AI data centers here in Canada. And we have some strict laws here in Canada and in the province of British Columbia of how data is supposed to be stored. And if Canadian data is being stored in China, in the United States, or in Europe, that is a clear violation of our FIPA and PIPA laws at the provincial level, but also at the federal level. So I wanted a clarification from the mayor of whether he was using AI for his work at City Hall. Let's also remember that he's not just the mayor. He's the chair and he's a member of the Vancouver Police Department board. Is he taking that information and running them through these AI agents to summarize, for example, his meeting minutes or agendas or confidential matters or correspondence that he might be getting from the Prime Minister or the Premier's office? To me, this is an issue of concern, and I just don't know if I trust the words of Ken Sim 2 days ago or trust his clarification statement yesterday.
Well, it's interesting because he goes on in this statement, Kareem, and says, as mayor, I take privacy, security, and public trust very seriously. Vancouver residents should know there is a clear separation between my own personal experience or experimentation with emerging technology and the work of the city. That doesn't sit well with you, I take it.
Well, it doesn't sit well with me because he clarified yesterday that he was primarily using these AI chatbots for helping him with his diet and some chores around the house. But anyone familiar with AI would know that to do that work, you wouldn't need 11 AI agents. That's a tremendous amount of artificial intelligence usage. So again, it's not clear to me what he's using these AI agents for. And it's not clear to me that or the public that when he made those initial statements that he wasn't referring to his work at City Hall.
What do you think he was using it for? I know that's pure speculation, but what's your worst concern or fear?
The worst concern or fear that I have is the City of Vancouver today does not have an AI policy. At the end of the day, Bruce, we have to admit, and I'll agree that AI is here, but we need strict rules for how public officials are allowed to use it. We need strict rules on how this is going to protect the public, but we also need rules to ensure that AI is being used to help people, not hurt them. And frankly, we didn't even get any statement from the mayor in terms of his commitment to drafting an AI policy for the City of Vancouver to ensure that data leaks offshore to China, the United States, or Europe don't occur.
If not the mayor, you turn to city staff with perhaps the expertise as it is right now, or somebody's got to have the expertise when it comes to AI. You mentioned that there isn't a policy or something in place, but who does it fall to, do you think, right now, or anyone?
I would argue that it would be up to the Office of the Auditor General in the City of Vancouver to conduct a review. It is that office that would have the resources and the ability to conduct an investigation to see, one, if there have been breaches of data using AI, whether it was in the mayor's office or at the staff level, but two, to bring the recommendations to ensure that city policies are aligned with provincial and federal laws.
Now, you're running for mayor of Vancouver, and you're not a Luddite by any stretch. If you were to be in office, what would you be using AI for?
Well, I've been using AI on my campaign recently, and I ran a query through ChatGPT and Grok and asked them who was going to win the next election, and they both said it was me. So I was kind of encouraged by that. But yeah, I think that there are tools for AI to, for example, do a bylaw review. The City of Vancouver has been writing bylaws for 130 years, and every time they write a new bylaw, they don't go back to see if it conflicts with an old bylaw. So you could use AI to do an analysis of which bylaws might conflict with other bylaws. So, for example, there are some bylaws that says windows on new buildings need to be 4x4, and there's other bylaws that say windows need to be 6x6. So that would be a good and reasonable use of artificial intelligence to review public documents. But when it comes to personal and private information, there needs to be strict barriers, strict laws, and strict controls. But up until that point where we start to see AI data centers in Canada, we should be very, very reluctant in government to be using U.S., Chinese, and European data centers to process our information as a government.
Kareem, Allam, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate coming on and talking about this.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much, Bruce.